Somebody made a great comment on the comments on YouTube recently about should you judge your recovery runs and easy runs in distance, like 8 kilometers, 10 kilometers, 12 kilometers, or should you judge it in minutes? It's a really good point. And the reason it's a good point is because often as runners, we're trying to keep up with a certain speed. And even if you're disciplined with your recovery runs and easy runs and say, you know what, my marathon pace is 3 minutes per kilometer or 5 minutes per kilometer, it doesn't matter, but my easy run pace is 20% or 40% slower. Most of us go too fast on our recovery runs and easy runs. And when I say most of us, I'm talking 90% of people are going too fast. And a lot of us are focused on the overall distance and improving that overall distance, the total volume, even more than actually preparing for one day. Now, before I actually deep dive into this, I want you to remember that as runners, we're not like cyclists who are trying to get good to race 20 consecutive days on the Tour de France. As runners, we are trying to get as fast as we possibly can, to run as fast as we can on one day, and usually one morning for an hour or 2 hours or whatever race it is that you're trying to prepare for. And if that's a marathon, if it takes you 2 hours or if it takes you 3 hours or 5 hours, that's great, but that's what you're trying to train towards. So you're working on your speed, endurance, you're working on getting faster, and that feeds nicely into your long runs, and then you're working on your endurance in that long run so that you're able to go further and with the speed further and faster so that you make a better athlete, you're more rounded. Now, the total volume, the amount of miles, the amount of kilometers that you run in a week is also a factor which increases endurance, but nowhere near as much as the long run. So what you should be focused on is the long run and the interval session. And literally it's that. I was having a conversation recently about tempo runs, and there's definitely an element that's going to be coming really useful in the long run. But as I mentioned in that video, I'll incorporate that into the long run because I think and I feel from 10, 15 years experience that the body can only handle that Wednesday and Sunday long run and Wednesday running quick. So when it comes to easy and recovery runs, for the last 4 years, I have gone off time, completely off time. And the reason for that is because when you go into distance, there's the tendency, or more so, there's the tendency to look at the watch and think, okay, how fast am I running this 8 kilometers? How fast am I running this 10 kilometers, 12 kilometers? And what you try to do, and it's very, very easy to see why people do this, you think to yourself, okay, I'm running 5 times per week, and my long run is 25K. And my interval session is 15K. So that's nicely 40 kilometers. What I want to do on top of that is 12 kilometers on my recovery runs and easy runs. So that's 3 times 12 is 36, equals 76 in total. What I'm doing is I'm working towards that magical 50 miles or that magical 75 kilometers or whatever you feel it is. Usually with the kind of higher you get, that 100-mile mark or 160K is the mark that a lot of people believe they need to hit in order to be running super quick times. It's just not the case. It's a fallacy. And what you should do in order to slow down on your recovery runs and easy runs is bring that into time. And when I said, you know what, it's a recovery run, I'm a bit beat up still from my Wednesday interval session, what I'm going to do is just go out and run half an hour. There's no pressure on time, there's no pressure on speed, there's no pressure on pace. It's all about being out there and knowing that from minute 1 until minute 30, the purpose is to become more recovered, to become fresher in the legs, so that the next day you can run an easy run, and hopefully the next day after that you can go long or you can go fast again. But it's all about the purpose, which is for you to recover. And then the next day an easy run and recovery runs, easy runs, they're not necessarily used interchangeable terms. Usually you would run a fast run, an interval session, that takes the most out of you. Then I'd do that on a Wednesday. On the Thursday, I'd have a complete rest day, and maybe I'd go into the gym and just work core and upper body. Then on the Thursday, I'd do a recovery run, and it'd literally be a check. How's my body feeling? Am I fully recovered from that interval session, or did I push it too far? And then on the Friday, I'd run an easy run. And usually that is a little bit quicker, but it doesn't matter. Again, the purpose is before the start of that easy run on Friday to the end, I'm more recovered. I'm more fresh in my legs. I've got more bounce, and I'm ready to take on another easy run on a Saturday, but then a long run on the Sunday. And I know from my training that the long run and the interval sessions, that's where I'm getting the most super compensation from. That's where I'm getting the most improvement from. So when I look at recovery runs and easy runs, I don't say I'm going out there and running 8K, I'm going out there and running 10K or 12K. It's just, I'm going out there and I'm either running 30 minutes, 40 minutes or 50 minutes. But more often than not, On the recovery runs and easy runs, I'm running 30 or 40 minutes. Now, I'm not trying to run as many miles or as many kilometers as I can in a week. That's not the purpose, and we cannot get that mixed up. There'll be coaches out there who'll disagree with this, and they'll think that total volume is really important, total volume boosts your endurance, etc. The long run is where you build the majority of your endurance. That's where you get used to running as quickly as you can. If you're from a new runner, a recreational runner, a good distance runner, a good amateur, all the way to elite, the majority of the super compensation in terms of endurance and being able to hold pace or hold the distance or get to the distance, the long run is going to provide the majority of that improvement, and that's where you should put your focus. Don't think too much in total volume. Don't think too much in kilometers or miles. Don't be counting numbers. Numbers are so arbitrary. Just go out there and think, you know what, I'm going to run for 30 minutes and I'm going to walk for the first 5 minutes like I always do. I walk for 5 minutes and it's like, do you know, are my calves feeling okay? Is the relationship between the Achilles and the calves okay? Is there any tightness there? Is there any soreness that I've got to watch out for? You want to stay away from injury like it's the plague. You want to stay away from illness also like it's the plague. But the more you stay away from those things, the more solid and steady your progress is, and then the further you can be in the not too distant future. And consistency is your improvement. Consistency is your biggest win. It's how you move forward. And what's lacking in most distance runners training, especially when they're new to marathon running or half marathon or they're training for a 10K, it's usually the consistency that's missing. Anybody can go out there. Remember, think about it like football. Anybody can go out there and play and score a great goal. Anybody can go out there and be in the right place at the right time and score, you know, a crazy header or a volley or something like that, because they're professional footballers. But how many people have got the experience of Paul Scholes or Roy Keane, like 20 years at the very top of the game? How many people can say that? That's where true greatness lies. And it's exactly the same on a smaller scale. Maybe we're not in front of Old Trafford and the Stretford End, but on a smaller scale, that is so important for us. It's the consistency. I know it doesn't sound sexy, but if you work at it like this, if you think consistency equals work ethic, so whether you wake up and you're not feeling great and you just thought, oh, the baby was screaming last night, or you had something on, or the neighbor's alarm woke you up in the middle of the night, but you're able to still, even if you don't feel like it, go out and do that recovery run and just say, do you know what, I'm just going to run 30 minutes easy today. My body doesn't feel great, but I'm just going to give it a check over and make sure we're okay for tomorrow's easy run. That's what makes greatness, and that consistency is your work ethic. I promise you, if you can get that right, and if you can constantly move forward, those improvements are compounded, and where you can be in 6 months can be drastically different to where you are now, and can be a massive, massive improvement. I've seen runners go from 3:30 for the marathon to being literally convinced that they can run much faster based on data and looking at the run. I've seen them quickly go through for a breaking 3 hours, so 3:30 to sub 3 hours, and then all of a sudden, once that belief is there, because they understand the power of consistency, they're able to break through 2:45 and then 2:40 and then towards 2:30. And when they think about it, it was inconceivable when they were running 3:30 for the marathon and trying to get under 4 hours, under 4:45, towards 3:30. I think I got numbers wrong, but towards 3:30, and then all of a sudden they've made an hour progress, which is towards 33%, towards a third faster. It was completely inconceivable until they saw the benefits of consistency. So if you instead think of the consistency word is kind of unsexy, you think work ethic. That's what makes the greats. That's what makes the Michael Jordans, the Paul Scholes, the Ronnie O'Sullivans, the Tiger Woods. It's the consistency. And then it's the bravery or the courage or the confidence in your own ability to go for it. More than anybody else around you, you have the confidence to go for it. So good luck with that. And stop thinking too much about pace and about distance in your recovery runs and easy runs. Go for a number of minutes, and that 30 to 40 minutes is a really nice period of time so that you're not getting any more soreness on top of what you've already got. You're building a stronger body, you're getting fresher. 30 to 40 minutes is a magic zone for those recovery runs and easy runs. Good luck, and if you have any comments, if you're doing it different currently but you think you might try that, comment below. I'd love to help you out with it if I can do.